Hey guys, Josh here, and last week I went to Seattle for PAX West. So in this video, I'd like to tell you about all of the farming games and other cozy games that I had the chance to see or play during my time there. If you're not familiar with PAX, it's a 4-day event where a lot is going on, but mostly game developers go there to showcase their new or upcoming games. There are also some special events and panels, and it's overall just a lot of fun. So hopefully through this video, you'll be able to discover some new games, learn more about games you maybe already knew about, and if you were at PAX, let me know what was your favorite game or moment there. Let's start by getting the obvious one out of the way. Fae Farm. You couldn't go anywhere during PAX without seeing Fae Farm. It was on everyone's lanyard. There were also these giant posters at the entrance, and in my opinion, they had one of the best looking booths. It was so cozy and well decorated. There were chairs, there was a little campfire. They also had the saltwater mines. You could go in and take pictures. And of course, tons of stations to try out the game. I've actually had the full game for a little while. I have a video with my first impressions, so feel free to check that out. And I am working on another video with my final thoughts and a few other things. But this game is honestly so addictive. I just finished the main story and I've been playing like 10 to 12 hours per day these last few days. It's also why this video is a bit late. But if you've played it, I'm curious to know what are your thoughts on Fae Farm and if you are as addicted as I am. I also went to the Fae Farm Cozy meetup on the second day of PAX, and I saw some of you guys, which was really fun. I also won this little Rune plushie, which is one of the animals you can get in the game. It's just really cute, but it was a really fun event. And yeah, Fae Farm had a really big presence at PAX, and I think it's nice to see a farming game with, I guess, a bigger marketing budget. A lot of people talking about it, and I hope we get more farming games like that in the future. Now, let's continue with the game I was really excited to be playing for the first time. Mirthwood is kind of a mix between farming sim and RPGs, like the Fable series, with a dark medieval theme. Actually, if you're familiar with Kinseed, I do get very similar vibes to that game, which makes sense because a lot of people who worked on Kinseed had previously worked on the Fable series. But besides a few similarities, Mirthwood and Kinseed are actually different in many ways. So I played the demo, which lasted about 15 minutes. Unfortunately, I did not record anything, but I'll tell you how my experience was. And the first thing that I liked in this game is how when you create your character, you can not only choose your physical appearance, but also things such as your character's origin, social class, and profession, which will give you different pros and cons. For example, if you're from the peasant class, you'll have more energy, but you'll have a harder time making friends. On the other hand, if you're from the royal class, making friends might be easier, but your equipment will degrade faster. You will then get to pick a profession like farmer, criminal, fighter, and more, with each one having their own pros and cons. I really like this system, and I feel like there's a potential for each playthrough to feel a bit different depending on your choices. After creating my character, I appeared in the world, and my quest was to reach a certain village. I used the map to find my way, and the map seemed really big with a good variety of towns and points of interest. Even though the game did give me a quest of where to go, right when I started playing, I felt a sense of freedom and openness, like I could go anywhere on the map and do whatever I wanted. And it was kind of how an Elder Scrolls game would be like if it was a top-down 2D game. On my way to the village, I found some chests with things like a sword and a pumpkin helmet, and I also had my first encounter with a bandit who was trying to kill me. So there is combat in this game, and I don't know if I misunderstood something, but it did feel a bit clunky and I had a hard time properly hitting the enemy. I think this might be because of the fact that the characters are flat like paper. By the way, I love their hand-drawn art style that makes it feel like a storybook, but it was difficult to properly line up with the enemies and I kept missing them. I also felt a bit overwhelmed because before your first combat starts, you get a screen listing all of the different actions like quick swing, heavy swing, and I think there was a third type of attack. There was also a dodge and a roll, which to me sound like two very similar things and I wasn't sure what the difference was. And because the demo was limited in time, I was struggling trying to figure out the combat as quickly as possible. Of course, this was just an early build, but if the developers are watching this, I think it could be a good idea to introduce the combat one action at a time through a tutorial instead of a screen showing you everything all at once. That being said, it definitely does look like an interesting combat system, and it reminded me a bit of the Souls games, where actions are on the slower side, and you have to think carefully about what you'll do next, but it might take some time getting used to. I eventually made it to the village where I got to meet some villagers. Interacting with them was pretty fun and it reminded me of The Sims. Basically, instead of just chatting like you would in most farming games, you get to choose from categories like romance, chat, gossip, influence, and then within each category you'll have to pick even more specific interactions, which the other characters could react to either positively or negatively. I like to see these kinds of deeper social interactions, and also I love the idea that you'll be able to make enemies, which creates the potential for a lot of fun stories and character development. The game also features a morality and renown system, so depending on your actions, you can either be good or evil, and this should result in people treating you differently. It seems like this game will offer a ton of features and things to do. Obviously in 15 minutes, I could only enjoy a fraction of it, and even though you can tell it was an early build and some things do need to be fleshed out, it's already a fun experience, which I think will appeal to anyone who likes games like Fable and The Elder Scrolls, but also farming sims. I think it's a lovely combination and I can't wait to play more of it when it releases on Steam in 2024. Next, one of my favorite publishers, Exceed, also known as Marvelous USA, was part of PAX. Not only did they make me spend a lot of money on things like these Story of Seasons and Rune Factory pins, also this cute chicken drinking glass, and this Story of Seasons and Wonderful Life mug. So I spent a lot of money there, but also they had a ton of demos for everyone to enjoy. First was Rune Factory 3 Special, which at the time of recording this video already released a few days ago for Nintendo Switch and Steam. I've been playing a bit, but if you liked Rune Factory 4 Special, you will most likely enjoy this one as it feels pretty similar for the most part, minus a few features and quality of life improvements, since Rune Factory 3 is technically an older game. I am planning a review and more content on Rune Factory 3 Special, so stay tuned for that. Next, there was a demo for Fashion Dreamer, and I didn't line up to play myself, but I watched my friend Kat play, and I know it's not a farming game, but it does actually look pretty fun, cozy, and something some of you may enjoy. I never really got into fashion games because even though I do have an interest in fashion, these games always seemed a bit low budget and low quality, but this one does look pretty fleshed out. Visually, it looks good, and from what I could see, I feel like there's a good amount of content, customization, and things to do. Also, there's actually a very good variety of clothes for men, whereas traditionally these games were catering a lot more to women, and you either couldn't choose your gender or options were very limited. So you can tell that with this game, Sofia, the developer who previously made the style-savvy games, are trying to reach a wider audience and raise the bar for that genre of games. The main premise of this game is you encounter people who will ask you to dress them up, and they'll give you hints like a color or a type of fabric that they would like, and then it's up to you to put together an outfit for them. From what I saw during the demo, it looks like the game is pretty lenient and you can't really fail, even if you don't give them what they really asked for, but if you do, you'll definitely get more points and unlock more outfits. Fashion Dreamer looks fun, so I will be giving it a try, and it will be out for Nintendo Switch on November 3rd, which is on my birthday. Next, we have a dungeon crawler called Silent Hope, which is also not a farming game, but it does feature the Woolies from Rune Factory and the cows from Story of Seasons, so it's close enough to my favorite series for me to talk about it. In this game, you play as 7 heroes who lost their voice, and you go into the Abyss, which consists of procedurally generated dungeons, where you fight monsters, and then you go back up to the base camp, where you can use the materials you found in the Abyss to craft some new items, and you can also swap between characters. During my playthrough of the demo, I picked the archer character, but also saw people playing with other ones. For example, there's a farmer who fights with a pitchfork, a fighter who uses fists, and of course the more traditional types like sword and shield, dual blades, and two-handed sword. It looks like each character has a pretty different playstyle, but for the most part, they'll have one basic attack plus 3 special skills. As the archer, for example, I could put giant traps on the ground, shoot 3 arrows at once, and there was a third skill that I unfortunately forgot about. There's no mana or magic points, so you can use those skills as many times as you want. The only restriction is that you have to wait a bit for the cooldown. This made the combat feel very simple but fun, and the controls were also very intuitive. You can also level up your skills, and it looks like there will be a pretty good variety of equipment and things you can craft, but unfortunately the crafting was not enabled in that demo, so there wasn't much I could do with the materials I collected. One of my concerns with Silent Hope was how it would run on the Switch as opposed to PC, but the demo was on the Switch, and at least for the dungeon that I played through, which I guess was most likely near the beginning of the game, It was very smooth and I didn't notice any slowdown or technical issues. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with Silent Hope. I don't think it will necessarily revolutionize the action RPG or dungeon crawling genres, but I could definitely see myself picking this game up regularly to just relax and have a fun time. Silent Hope will be available for Nintendo Switch and PC on October 3rd. It was not the only dungeon crawler, there was also Cuisineer, in which you fight your way through dungeons using kitchen utensils like spatulas and knives. You can even throw plates at your enemies, all while gathering as many ingredients as possible for your restaurants that you will decorate and serve customers in between your expeditions in the dungeons. I did not play the demo at PAX for this game, so I won't be talking about it for too long, but I did play the demo that was on Steam a few months ago and also quite enjoyed my time with it. I feel like Cuisineer and Silent Hope will probably appeal to similar audiences as their gameplay isn't that different, and Cuisineer comes out on Steam on November 9th, just a bit more than a month after Silent Hope, so I'm looking forward to seeing which of these two will be the most fun. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about Echoes of the Plum Grove. This game was not actually part of PAX West, but the developers are a couple based in Seattle, and they invited me for lunch, told me so much about their game, and they even showed me their latest build. I talked about this game a few times on my channel, and there is a demo available on Steam, so feel free to check it out. I will very soon, but after what I saw, I'm even more excited for it. The developers behind this game have been working on it for about 5 years now, and you can tell how passionate they are about it. They took the time to travel to various parts of the United States in order to learn about the colonial era lifestyle, architecture, clothing, and so much more in order to make the game as accurate as possible to the time period the game is based on, and you can tell that they put so much attention to detail. However, even though the game is historically accurate in some aspects, I won't spoil anything, but it will have some very exciting twists. This game just looks so adorable. Its art style is obviously heavily inspired by Paper Mario, but not only is it cute, it will also have interesting gameplay mechanics, like the fact that you'll have to stock up on food to survive through winter. Characters will sometimes catch and spread diseases and die, but if they do manage to survive, they will get older, get married with each other, and all of that. Each character will also have specific traits and hobbies. So, for example, if a blacksmith in your town is an early bird, they might open their shop at 6 a.m. every day, but after they pass away, they might get replaced by another blacksmith who's maybe not an early bird, and in that case, the shop might open at 8 a.m. instead. All of these little details will make it feel like the town is constantly evolving and will make each playthrough a bit unique. There will be a Kickstarter campaign for Echoes of the Plum Grove a bit later this year, so if you're interested, make sure to keep an eye out for that. And the game should be releasing next year for Steam and who knows, maybe other platforms depending on how the Kickstarter goes. And that's pretty much it for the most interesting games I saw at PAX. Other games that are already out, such as Everdream Valley, were also there, as well as games that are currently in early access, like My Time at Sandrock, which has a full release planned for consoles and Steam on November 2nd. And now I'm just realizing that November is also going to be a pretty busy month for games. We have so many things to look forward to. Let me know which one you're the most excited for. For me, I think it would have to be Echoes of the Plum Grove in number 1, followed by Silent Hope. But there's just so many games, I'm sure there's something for everyone. I think I'll also try to go to PAX East next spring, and I'll try to record a bit more. I feel like this time I was a little bit shy to just take out my phone and record stuff. But now that I'm making this video, I wish I had more footage. So I think I might do that next time. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want more content about farming games and other cozy games. And I'll see you all in the next video.